How many words per minute was that? That all said, let's talk about the news, okay? I have an agenda, I don't usually, but there is something in the news that I would like to talk about, and I really don't want to talk about the election. So instead of talking about that, let's talk about something different. And I think this particular incident, it brings up a lot of interesting topics to talk about from a different perspective, and that is, hope I have his name right, but Kaepernick, is everyone familiar with, I got the name right?
Kaepernick,
What's his first name?
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin. Does everyone know the backstory?
Yeah. Nope.
All right. Okay, so
That's what I was going to.
who would like to give me the backstory really quickly? Anyone?
He's a backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
And he decided he was not going to stand for the national
Oh,
anthem
okay. Okay.
because he was protesting when he was protesting.
Okay. All right. And so it did spark a lot of controversy in our country and in our homes and in our workplace, and people formed really very vivid opinions on one side or the other. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting thing. And I'm gonna come in from, what's my role for you? My role is to be a conduit to universal wisdom. I really don't care about the facts on earth the way everyone else seems to care about the facts on earth, because all we're really doing is working through our soul's development here. So what difference does it make if you're going to get your aha moment through helping a bird fly or by taking the trash out at the end of the day? What difference does it make, right? They're interchangeable. Grow, you grow. So coming at this particular topic from a global perspective, from a universal truth perspective, I want to give you my angle on it from all that I have experienced and explored in releasing the human side of me and letting go of the ego and knowing the bigger picture about what the heck we're all doing here, okay? And here's how that looks for me. Everyone pretty much knows that my very first big psychic moment was during the attack on the World Trade Center on 9/11. It was a profound moment that changed the course of my life, not immediately, but over years to come. And it took a lot for me to be able to interpret how could I be 40 miles away from New York City and experience what was happening there, and in such a valid way to have that opportunity to be two places at one time. It made me very curious about consciousness, made me curious about things that I never really thought about, and made me explore consciousness, the human journey, are we eternal, and so on, to the point that I think I feel really comfortable with my version of our reality here, and that gives me a lot of peace. But one of the things that happened during that period, and I couldn't explain it at the time, I can explain it now, but in the aftermath of 9/11, everybody was waving American flags, and you would drive down the streets and people were flying flags on their cars and so on. And I still didn't understand much about the process of enlightenment. I didn't understand what I experienced that day. I was living in the same drama and chaos of everybody else on Long Island, helping people, trying to sort it out, trying to raise my kids, trying to keep, some semblance of hope and peace and possibility going. But what was really weird is when I would see these flags, I never felt compelled to hang one, and I never felt compelled to put one on my car. And I started over time to get knots in my stomach when I would see them on the highways, and I would see them all over the place. I really started to get these knots in my stomach. That doesn't make any sense. Why would I get knots in my stomach when I see the American flag? I really didn't understand it, because I didn't understand what intuition was yet. What I came to realize years later, as I started to be able to communicate with non-physical sources and have real conversations with them, I would go back and I'd ask a million questions. Why this? Why that? Why did I do this? Why did this happen? Little things, big things, everything. I asked everything. And eventually I came to the point in 2005, 2006, where I said, why did I get sick to my stomach by the flags? That doesn't make any sense. And what was indicated to me was a really interesting way of looking at it. There are two ways that we can honor a flag. One way is to to show something that we have in common with others and to see the camaraderie of that experience. And that's how we can honor a flag, that we have this similarity and we feel joyful of having these similar views or opportunities or experiences with that. And we can identify ourselves through aligning with the flag. But another way that we are looking at the flag is it's not unifying, it's divisive. What was happening after 9/11 is those who were flying the flag, oftentimes, not everyone, but oftentimes they were showing superiority to other countries, particularly the ones that they thought were the terrorists that brought down the towers. So it was an act of vengeance, it was an act of defiance, it was an act of rebellion and anger that we are better than you and you're never ever going to take us down. So there were two things going on with the flag back then. There were those who were really trying to honor the people that lost their lives, were trying to respect the fact that America seems to have more opportunities than some other countries to experience freedom. There were some people that were seeing it as something that unified us, but there were a lot of people that were using it as a divisive symbol. And the more I progressed personally, the more I came to see any flag as something that was more used for divisiveness rather than for unity. And anything that divides any person or any group of people from another group of people is not aligned with universal wisdom. We are one globe. There are no boundaries, there are no borders, there are no differences, and there are no separations. Anything that you suppose that's different about you or someone that's living in Iran is in your mind. It's not in reality. And until we start to accept that we are one globe, we are one breathing, living consciousness, that we're going to continue to divide ourselves from each other when we treat the flag as though it's something that has to be or should be. Now, do I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Do I stand at the anthem? Honestly, I haven't, in as long as I can remember, took my hand and put it over my heart and faced a flag. Because I don't pledge allegiance to anything except to the vibration of love. I am the vibration of love. So if there's anything less than that vibration, why on earth would I pledge allegiance to it? I can't pledge allegiance to a flag. I can only pledge allegiance to being the best person that I can be, to continue to increase my positive vibrational energy for the betterment of me and the betterment of anybody I ever meet or come into contact with. That's what I pledge my allegiance to, being the best person that I can be. So no, I don't put my hand over my heart and I don't pledge allegiance to anything. And it has nothing to do with defiance. It has nothing to do with anger. It has nothing to do with my opinion of the government or the United States or government or politics. It has everything to do with knowing that we are one living, breathing consciousness. And what it is that I respect and I honor is all of humanity. And I don't want to ever participate in separating us from one another. I don't ever want to participate in dividing us from one another. I don't want to ever participate in us judging one another. Because it's not until we strip away those ideas that we're actually going to unify and love one another everywhere all the time. You can't get there by pretending that you're being unifying if you are behaving in a divisive way. That's the bottom line. You can't pretend. You either are or you're not. So, my feeling about Kaepernick is that I respect his choice. I make my choice with the flag. It's my choice. It's personal. It's no longer personal because I told all of you. But it's always been personal for me. I don't need to get anyone to agree with me. I don't even need to get anyone to know I'm doing it. I actually try to stay really subtle because it is personal for me. It's my choice. It's what I do with my energy. It's the way I honor every person on this planet. It's what I do. But if I needed to stand up and speak out for people that are not necessarily valued and appreciated, I would have absolutely no problem coming out with that particular issue. One thing you've probably seen, are there things that I could get really keyed up about and make it my life mission to try to change? There are certainly things that I could get keyed up about. Different organizations or ways that we live that are separated from the vibration of love. People that I would love to help along. I can find an issue and then another and another and another, or all of them simultaneously, and get behind that. But I prefer to be global. I prefer to teach people to love themselves. I prefer them to find peace in the way that they're perceiving things outside of their own immediate circle. That, I feel, is what my role is, not to just talk about one particular issue, but for those who do have something in their lives that has caused a tremendous amount of disempowerment for them, how they voice that, how they protest that, how they bring awareness to it is their business and their choice. You know, I find it so hypocritical, and I don't like hypocrisy. I find it so hypocritical that people can talk about us being the freest country in the world and then want to take away our freedoms all the time. Not being able to choose whether you stand or don't stand for the national anthem is taking away your freedom. I don't care if you don't stand because you have an upset stomach, and if you stand, you're going to throw up all over everybody. If America says you have to stand, then hell, go throw up all over everybody and get your freedom back. The point is, freedom is choice. Freedom is that you express yourself through your choice. I really do believe, first, do no harm. First, do no harm. You can express yourself any way that you want in the freedom of your choice. Don't do any harm to anybody. But express yourself. Express yourself. If we're going to live in a free country, we have to agree that it's a free country. We can't give in to any narration or dictation of where we have freedom and where we don't have freedom. We've given up enough of it already. Don't give away any more of it. If you don't agree with his perspective, sit there demurely in silence and feel peace for him. If you do agree with it, then say, pat him on the back, good job, I really hear you. I'm doing what I can to help there be true equality in our country. But I understand your journey. It's been a tough journey. Thank you for taking your stand in such a peaceful way. There are ways to be a part of anything that anyone is experiencing without judging what it is they're experiencing and without judging how they voice it or how they express it. First, do no harm, then please express yourself. We have been too silent for too long about many things that happen in this country. Way too silent for too long about things that happen in this country. If you keep accepting it, you will completely lose your freedom. Not only will you lose your freedom, but you're giving it away by choice. You're handing it to them. Don't hand away your freedom. Honor and respect whether or not you agree with somebody's protest. If they're protesting something that they believe in passionately and they're not doing any harm, respect them. Say, I'm so grateful that we live in a free country where we can express ourselves. There's no right or wrong here. It's about getting closer to the vibration of love. It's amazing how fast we go black and white in this, and I'm not saying that about race, but boy do we go black and white. You're right, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're right. You stand up, you're right. You sit down, you're wrong. It's not that way. It's not that way. It's not that way. It's about freedom. Freedom to be, freedom to express, freedom to explore, freedom to adventure, freedom to grow, freedom to live. Honor freedom. Honor freedom in every thought that you have, in every nuance of the way that you communicate with people, every way that you express whether you're enchanted or disenchanted by the things that are happening. Choose freedom. Choose freedom. And the reason I can talk about freedom in the way that I do is because from my experiences in the energy realm, where I get to see what we're all like when we're not in bodies, when I'm there, I can tell you that one of the closest energies to match or mimic or echo the vibration of love is the vibration of freedom. When you choose to give away your freedom, you're giving away your self-love. It is that important. You're giving away your love of self when you give away your freedom. When you ask other people to give away their freedom, you're asking them to not love themselves fully. Why would you ask anyone to not love themselves fully? Why would you ever do that? You want people to love themselves fully. There are so many ways to journey here. There are, 300 million people in our country alone? Let everybody journey. First, do no harm. Let everybody journey. Let everyone find their own way to express and explore and to be. If they feel there's a fight that they have to fight, let them fight their fight, as long as they're not doing any harm. Let them find their way. Let them find their voices. Let them get back the power that was taken away from them when they were kids, or because of the color of their skin, or because of their religion, or because of their sexuality. Let them get back their power. Whatever it takes for them to get back their power. First, do no harm. Let them get their power back. That's my opinion.
In a nutshell.